Alright, so in this video, I'm going to be going over problems that you guys had questions with from lesson 68 and 69. The first one is lesson 68, so I'm on page 279, and it's number 5. And the question is, Galileo counted the number of falling stars that he observed each night for 1 week. The data he collected is shown. So here is the data right there in that little chart, and we're supposed to find the range, median, mode, and mean. Alright, range is going to be, that's an easy one. You just take the highest number and you subtract the lowest number. So usually the best thing to do with these problems first is to put them in order from least to greatest. So 119 is our lowest number, and then 122, and then 133, and then 134. And then we got another 134, and then 152, and then the last one is 170. So it's usually helpful if you put all the numbers in order first. So if we're going to subtract our least from our greatest, that would be 170 minus 119. And we subtract that and we'll get 51. So the range is 51. Median means the middle number. Remember, the median is in the middle of the highway, so we're just going to count to the middle number. And that is 134. So the median is 134. The mode is going to be the number that appears the most often, and that is also 134 because it appears twice. And the mean is the average, mean on average. So we're going to add all these together and then divide by the number of numbers. So 4 is 8, 10, 12, 9, and 21, 24, and then 10, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 25, 26. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Coming up with 964, and then we're going to divide by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And the answer for that is 137.71. Alright, so that is how to solve lesson 68, problem number 5. Alright. Okay, lesson 68, problem number 7. What fraction of 105 is 5 1/3? So we're going to write that as W times 105 equals 5 1/3. Now this one seems tricky, but if we rewrite it, then it will be easy. So I'm going to put my 105 over 1 times W. So I just swap those around. And then I'm going to turn this into an improper fraction. So 3 times 5 is 15, plus 1 is 16 over 3. Now we can see what we need to do pretty easily. This means W times 105. So we're going to flip this fraction and multiply. And do the same thing on that side. These cancel. Now we just have to do 3 times 105. 3 times 5 is 15. Times 1 is 3, and we get 315. So it's 16 times 1 is 16, and 3 times 105 is 315. And the answer is 16 over 315. Right? The next one is still on lesson 68, and it's number 12. Number 12 is 20 1/4 x plus 5 1/2 equals 7 1/16. Alright, so first thing we have to do is get rid of this plus 5 1/2 by subtracting 5 1/2 on both sides of the equal sign. Now to subtract this one, we're going to have to change this 1/2 into 8/16. Now 1/16 minus 8/16, can't do that. We got to borrow from the 7. And that would make that be 17/16. 17 minus 8 is 9/16. And 6 minus 5 is 1. 1 and 9/16. Now, this is multiplication. This means 20 and 1/4 times x, so we're going to have to divide. Before we do that, let's change these into improper fractions. So 20 times 4 would be 80, plus 1 is 81 over 4. X equals 16 times 1 is 16, plus 9 would be 25 over 16. And then we flip and multiply. And we're going to get, let's see, we can cancel here. And 8 times 4 is 32. Make sure I did that right. Yeah. So it's 25 over 324 is the answer to number 12. The next one is 15. 15 is a system of equations. So we've got 5x minus 2y equals 10. And we've got 7x minus 3y equals 13. And it says use elimination. Now, elimination is where we're going to add these two equations together. First, we're going to have to multiply one of these equations or both of these equations so that they will cancel each other. I'm going to go with the 2 and the 3 right here. We're going to try to cancel the y's. So I'm going to multiply this whole equation times negative 3, and I'm going to multiply this whole equation times 2. Alright, so negative 3 times 5 would be negative 15x. Negative 3 times negative 2 is positive 6y. And then negative 3 times 10 would be negative 30. Now I'm going to multiply this equation. 2 times 7 is 14. 2 times 3 is 6, so that would be negative 6y. And then 2 times 13 is 26. Now I'm going to add these two together. So I'm going to start over here. Negative 15 and positive 14 will be negative 1, so negative x. Those two cancel. We get negative x equals negative 30 and 26 would be 4. Negative 4. So we end up with negative x equals negative 4. That means x is going to equal 4. Alright, so we've got x equals 4. Now we just have to figure out what y equals. So we're just going to plug the value for x into one of these equations. So we'll do the top one, 5 times 4, because the 4 is x, minus 2y equals 10. 5 times 4 is 20, minus 2y equals 10, minus 20 on both sides. Negative 2y equals negative 10. Divided by negative 2, divided by negative 2, y is going to equal 5. So, y equals 5. So the answer, write it in parentheses, would be 4, 5. Alright, the next one is number 26. Alright, number 26 is negative 3 squared minus 1 over negative 3 to the negative third plus negative 3 to the 0. Okay, first thing we're going to do is take care of this part. So I'm going to rewrite the problem. And we have to move that to the top of the fraction. So we're going to get negative 3 to the third. That gets rid of this negative sign. Plus negative 3 to the 0. Alright, negative 3 squared, that would be 3 times 3 is 9, so that would be negative 9. Now, we've got negative 3 in parentheses to the third. We can't cover up that negative sign, so this means negative 3 times negative 3 times negative 3. Negative 3 times negative 3 would be positive 9. Positive 9 times negative 3 would be negative 27. So that's going to be minus negative 27. And then negative 3 to the 0 is just going to be 1. Now these two are going to cancel each other, negative and negative. So we're going to have a positive 27 and a positive 1, negative 9. We're going to put these two together first. So we're going to get 28 minus 9, and that's going to equal 19. All right, moving along to lesson 69, number 2. Number 2 is the graduate level course Diana was taking. Each of 3 tests were weighted 20%, and the final paper was weighted 40%. Diana's scores on the test were 80, 90, 100. Her score on the final paper was an 80. What was Diana's weighted average for the course? All right, so we're going to do 20% times each of these first grades. So we can just multiply them by 0.2. So she got an 80 and a 90 and a 100. Okay, so these are each going to count as 20%. So that will be 2 times 8 is 16. That counts 16 points. That one counts 18 points, and that one counts 20 points. Add those together. Okay, and then the final paper was worth 40% of her grade, and on her final paper she made an 80. So we would say 4 times 0 is 0, 8 times 4 is 32. So 32 more points. We're going to add those to her 54 points she already got. And it should be an 86 is her final score. And 86 is the correct answer for that one. So on these, you're just going to multiply each of the ones that were worth 20% times 0.2, add all those together, and then the one that was worth 40% times 0.4, and then add into the total of the others. All right, the next one that somebody needed help on was number 3. Indicate whether each of the following numbers is a rational number or an irrational number, and then explain. The first one, A, is 0.142857 repeated, and that one is a rational number because repeating decimal are all rational numbers. B is the third root of 27, and that is rational. Because every whole number is a rational number, and the third root of 27 equals 3. And the last one is the square root of 5, and that's irrational. Because the square root of any whole number that is not a perfect square is an irrational number. All right, next one is number 4. Factor, remember that the product of a constant term must equal the constant in the trinomial. So, all right, so we got to factor this, x squared plus 6x minus 16. All right, so first thing we're going to do is draw our parentheses, and we're going to put x at the beginning. Now we got to think of the factors of 16, so we're going to multiply to get this, and we're going to add to get this. So we need two numbers that we multiply together to get 16 and add together to get negative 16 and add together to get 6. The factors of 16 would be 16 and 1, 2 and 8, and then 4 times 4. It's going to have to be 2 and 8, because that would just get you 15 or negative 15, and 4 would either get you 8 or 0. All right, so on this one, it is, we don't want plus or minus, 2 and 8. And we got to get positive 6. So if we did positive 8 and negative 2, when we added positive 8 and negative 2, we would get positive 6. All right, the next one is number 6. So 6 is x squared minus 6x minus 27. Okay, first we're going to draw our parentheses. These two are an x because x times x is x squared. Now we got to think of the factors of 27. We've got 1 and we've got 27. And then we've got 3 and 9. 3 times 9 is 27. That's what it's going to be. So we got our 3 and our 9. Now we just got to figure out which one's positive and which one's negative. It's negative 6x. So the 9 is going to be negative and the 3 is going to be positive, because if we do negative 9 plus 3, we're going to end up with negative 6. Right, next one, 16. (11n) plus n squared plus 18. This one's, the order's mixed up, so we're going to move it over here to n squared plus 11n plus 18. We're going to draw parentheses and put in our n's. And now we need two numbers that when we multiply them, we're going to get 18, and when we add them, we're going to get 11. All right, so factors of 18, 18 and 1, we can't add that to get 11. 9 times 2 will make 11. 9 plus 2 is 11. All right, another one would be 20. On number 20, it is a over b minus 4 divided by x over b minus b. Okay, so first thing we're going to do is put that 4 over 1 right there, and then we are going to have to find a common factor to put these together. So for the top one here, we could do a over b minus 4b over b, and we're going to get a minus 4b over b. So that's our top right there. All right, now the bottom, we're going to have to multiply both of these times b, times 1 over b. So we're going to get x over b, so that's over 1, minus b squared over b. So on the bottom, we're going to have x minus b squared over b. All right, because we did this times b over b. Okay. So now we're going to flip this. And multiply it on both the top and the bottom. All right, these b's are going to cancel. And we're going to get a minus 4b over x minus b squared. All right. Okay, this is number 23 on set 69. It's f of x equals 7 times the square root of x plus 18 minus 5 times the square root of 8x. And they want us to find f of 2. So all we have to do is replace every x with a 2. So 7 times the square root of 2 plus 18 minus 5 times the square root of 8 times 2. Alright, so 7, 2 plus 18 is 20. And then we got our 5. 2 times 8 is 16. Alright. This one, the square root of 16, would be 4. So 5 times 4 is 20. Over here, we can break this one down. 20 will be 5 times 4. Square root of 4 is 2. So 7 times 2 is 14 times the square root of 5. And that's the answer. 14 times the square root of 5 minus 20. That was number 23. 24 is a system of equations, and it's 3x plus 4y equals negative 7, and 3x minus 3y equals 21. This one's real easy because we have a 3 and a 3. We just got to make one of these be negative. So I'm going to multiply this whole thing times negative 1, this whole top equation. So negative 1 times 3x would be negative 3x. Negative 1 times 4y would be negative 4y. Negative 1 times negative 7 would be positive 7. Then we're going to add this bottom equation to it. Alright, so we're going to add these two. Negative 3 and positive 3x would be 0. Those cancel. This would be negative 7y equals 28. Now we just have to divide by negative 7. And we're going to get y equals negative 4. Alright, now since we have y equals negative 4, we can solve for x by just putting that value into either one of these equations. So 3x plus 4 times y, which is negative 4, equals negative 7. 3x plus 4 times 4 is 16. That will be negative 16. So minus 16 equals negative 7. Then we got to do plus 16, plus 16. 3x equals 16 minus 7 would be 9. So x equals 3. So the answer to that one is 3, negative 4. Our x goes first, then our y. Uh, 25. 25 is another system of equations. 2x minus 2y equals negative 2. And 4x minus 5y equals negative 9. Alright, and it says use elimination to solve. So that means we got to add these two together. So first we have to make something be opposite of the other. I'm going to multiply this whole thing times negative 2. Alright, so negative 2 times 2 would be negative 4x. See what I did right there? I'm trying to make it be the opposite of regular 4x. Negative 2 times negative 2 would be negative 4y. No, that one's positive. Negative times a negative makes a positive. And then that one would be negative 4. Nope, positive 4. Negative times a negative makes a positive. Okay, now we're just going to add this equation to the bottom one. We're going to add those two together. These are going to cancel, and we're going to get negative y equals negative 5. So regular y would equal 5. All right, y equals 5. And now we just got to substitute that value into one of these equations. So 4x minus 5 times 5 equals negative 9. So I'll just put this 5 right there. 4x minus 25 equals negative 9. Now we're going to do plus 25 on both sides. 4x equals, what would that be, 16? Divide by 4, x equals 4. So the answer should be 4, 5. Our x is 4, our y is 5. All right. Do one more, number 30.